Hey guys.
Hey, Casey.
Hey.
How's everybody doing so far? A little bit of a sideways head shake, nod. Yeah.
Good enough.
Good
Hey,
enough. Hey Nathan. Matt, you're good for a demo today, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. And are you gonna, I know you ran the meeting last time. Did you want to do that again today?
Sure. Pull everything up. Are we ready to go?
We'll give another minute or two. I don't know if we'll get many more, but
Okay.
are you headed into the office after this? Or you're already in the office, aren't you?
Yeah. I made it in this morning. It is much more crowded than usual. So
Ooh,
you'll be excited.
that's exciting. Yeah, I'll be coming in right after this.
Yeah, it's a lot of people in today, so it's very lively.
Yeah, I have given up trying to get into the office prior to this meeting. I know 9 o'clock's not that early, but it's early enough.
The commute gets a lot more. It's a lot more difficult now that I think a lot of other people are going in. I'd been in the most full BART train I'd been in since like 3 years ago or something now.
Well, it's not great for your commute experience, but probably a good sign overall.
Yeah, that's true.
We could probably get started.
All right. I guess the first thing is anybody want to take notes?
I can do that.
Awesome. Okay. So I guess welcome everybody to another Calico community meeting. So yeah, I guess we'll start again this week and talk about, I guess, some of the things we're looking for in open source Calico. So I guess looking a little further forward towards Calico 3.25. We're looking to, I think, add a few features. I think last month I had kind of only talked about kind of looking towards admin network policy. And so now we've kind of ironed out a few more details in terms of other features other than that. So I guess we'll chat about that a little bit. Kind of the first thing is that we're adding new selector expressions to network policy. And so this is kind of like a first step towards kind of like all the things needed to fully uptake admin network policy upstream. But we're going to add some new selector expressions to add some feature parity. So I think it's sharing things that have the same label. So basically anything that has the same label across like a namespace or something like that will have a selector to select on that. So I think it's shares or something like that. So more details will surface kind of as we keep working on that. But that's something to keep an eye out for. We're also
The shares label is pretty cool. That's one that I think we've had people asking for a really long time. Glad we're doing that. Just to interrupt you there.
no,
like
yeah,
one of those things. I think people want it for, like, you can create a single network policy that sort of cookie cutters itself into all of the namespaces. I think one of the common use cases is like only allow from things that share a namespace with me, for example. So if you want to like lock down inter namespace communication, by default, you can do that with a single policy rather than creating a policy per namespace.
Yeah, I probably didn't do the excitement around that justice, so thanks for the color. So yeah, I guess moving on from there, we're also kind of looking at, I think we had previously released a tech preview version of Windows host process containers. We basically can use a daemon set and everything fun about Kubernetes in Windows with that. So I think we're looking to validate that for GA now that I think Microsoft put it into GA as well. So I think we're going to revalidate everything there, make sure that's all working and supported, and give it a kind of a stamp of approval. So that's kind of the next thing there, which is pretty exciting just because you don't have to go through all of the Windows install scripts in order to get everything up. You just get Kubernetes behavior in your Windows cluster, which I think is something that people have been looking for a while. And then we're looking at some smaller features along BGP. So always a few more enhancements of BGP, most notably GTSM support for BGP. I actually forgot what GTSM was.
GTSM is the TTL thing, right? That's
I believe so. I forgot exactly what that stood for. It's like something security, something module.
Yeah, the generalized TTL security mechanism.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
It lets you specify the expected number of next hops for incoming BGP packets so that you can assert on the TTL when you receive them. Another sort of not quite complete security feature for BGP.
But when you use all of the incomplete security features of BGP, you get just a little bit further. So yeah, I guess those are a few of the things we're targeting for 3.25. There may be, I guess, other things kind of coming down the pipe. We'll kind of see how things work out, but I think those are kind of the big things that we're targeting right now. So hopefully that is exciting to people. I guess moving on, we're also looking to release a 324.2 patch release. We made a 324.1 patch release to fix up some build issues. So we're making up another one. There's a bug fix for kind of our IPAM checking capabilities in Calico. So we're handling a bug fix there. I don't have all the details about exactly what those bugs are, but there are a few checks that I can get in there, and I
add some context to those. I think I remember what's going on there. I think the IPAM one was we weren't cleaning up leaked handles in all situations. So if you ended up with an allocation that was properly cleaned up, but its handle was still around, that handle would stay forever. So just kind of like adding another one of our several IPAM resources to the to that tool, basically.
Gotcha. Yeah, I saw there was
a pretty niche situation.
Yeah, I saw there was one more fix out regarding that, so I'm not sure if that last part's in, but as soon as I think everything is in for that, we'll begin cutting the patch release. So
Bing due on an issue this morning. There's been some recent demand for an Helm chart fix around image pull secrets. I think it went into master, but hasn't been in a release yet.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
I think normally we wouldn't backport it, but it's pretty small and it's sort of just a packaging change. Could
Yeah.
be considered a bug fix. I think it would be nice to do it just because it's got a bit of attention recently.
Yeah, let's grab all those low-hanging fruit. So we'll add that into the patch release as well. I think there's some stability improvements around cube controllers, health checks as well. So a few small things going in there, but overall should help out with the experience and the stability of a few things. So that's 324.2. Not sure if there's anything else that anyone was tracking that we've kind of recently done for that, but yeah, if there's any other bug fixes or things, we can also backport those as well. So not too much there, but I think there's also just a few little things like updating libraries and whatever else not. So cool. I guess that's it in terms of, I guess, 325 and 324.2. Anything happening in the operator world, Eric?
Nothing that I that came to mind. I was thinking about this earlier. Yeah, I don't think I have anything big or well. I know there were some. Actually, let's see. There were some migration updates and stuff. I don't know if they went into 324 or if they're for 325 though. I'd have to go look at the PRs. Let's see.
Yeah, wasn't there a bug fix for the IP forwarding config migration?
Yeah. But I was actually thinking about the migration of the affinities and node selectors. Since we added that was added to the
Yep.
configuration for the operator, that we also added, or it's being worked on to migrate over if somebody has those set on their manifests. I don't think that now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think that's in yet. I don't think it's gone through the final review, but that's in progress. So if anybody had any of those set, which would have blocked pretty sure it would have blocked a migration before. Now those kind of settings can be migrated or will be able to. So I guess maybe that I don't know. Do you know Casey is expected probably then for 325? It seems like that'd be the right time frame.
I think without any other changes to backport it, yeah, it would be.
Wait, why do you say?
Sorry, I maybe missed what you're saying. Were you just still talking about the
I was talking about
the
the migration.
yeah, the migration stuff that went into master right after 324?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be
Or well, I don't
325.
think it's in master yet because I think I reviewed the PR and I don't think it's been updated yet, so I don't think it's in yet.
Okay. Was that Lawrence
Yeah.
working on that?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we should try to get that in for 325. Maybe just poke that PR at some point.
Okay. I think that's all I had. It didn't come with much, so.
Fair enough. That works. Let's see. Do we have anyone who knows about anything on the eBPF status? I don't see Sean, Tomas as well. Do you know anything about that, Casey, or are we just going to skip that for this month?
I don't have the latest information on that. I know that they're still working on a lot of stability and testing work.
All right. Yeah.
But
yeah,
don't have the latest.
I knew that much. They've been fixing up a ton of the different tests. So a lot of the flakes that people find when they develop and they hit a lot of our FVs and things, they've been really fixing up and making sure that they're not nearly as common or getting rid of the flake entirely. So, but other than that, I'm not aware of anything else. So I'll just wait until Sean or Tomas can share something else instead of speaking for them. So cool, that's it on that end. How about any status on VPP?
Sure. So on VPP, we've been a bit late regarding 3.24, but we're coming close to release. Actually, we wanted to target today, but we got a bit sidetracked on the fix. The main things that we added was the support for multi-net. So we are working on kind of integration with multiples that allows to create basically multiple clusters stacked on each other. And so we added support for that for services and policies. The policies not completely available because it requires changes in Felix, but generally speaking, that becomes available in the release that we want to do for 3.24. Apart from that, we also focusing on code quality. So with a bunch of fixes for WireGuard, the V6 support, adding tests, CI, and are working on CI jobs. So we'll probably annoy you to add specific GitHub actions on our repo, because I don't think we are admin on the repo itself. And we are starting compiling the features that are missing to get full feature parity. The one that was missing is RPF, which Eddie is currently working on. So adding RPF checks for the web pods and it. In our next steps, that will probably also trigger quite a few questions in Felix. We are trying to move some of the watchers that we had on the Calico API to go through Felix. So Casey, you probably saw a few PR in that sense, and there are probably a few more to come, just in order to reduce the load on the API. So the whole thing was to reduce the complexity of the agent and also avoid the n square complexity for that. And finally, we're also working internally on some MVPs, deploying Calico VP to test some production, so applications, and hopefully go to production in the coming period. So we are also making fixes in order to increase coverage for that and testing a bit solution. So probably same activity as eBPF is going through. And that's it for eBPF.
Well, yeah, that's some exciting stuff. For the PRs that you guys are putting up, just make sure you're pinging us and in case we miss them. I know I've taken a look at some, and sometimes I miss when there's updates on them. So
yeah,
just shout about that. Don't be shy. And then for the GitHub action stuff, let's sort that out as well. I think we should be able to get you the ability to do that.
Okay, cool, thanks. Yes.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you can't, sometimes people don't see all the GitHub notifications, but I know you guys are all on our Slack channels as well. Just ping everybody all the time.
Well, we'll definitely do that. We've been so lately we've been sidetracked on a few other things, so I've not been paying enough attention to the Slack channel, but we'll definitely do more in the coming weeks.
Cool, that sounds awesome.
Thanks.
Cool. Okay. I guess things that don't fall within everything else. I guess we've had some problems with the last release regarding our OpenStack build. So they weren't actually. I think even they were from prior releases. We just haven't heard too much about it. But I think our OpenStack master releases or nightly builds of everything were down, so we weren't building them for the longest time. So we fixed them. Those are back up. So for anybody out there on OpenStack, you can now, I guess, try the nightly builds. So that's exciting. But yeah, I don't think we'd updated them for a long time. So I don't think there's too many people on it, but
Yeah, I think those got broken in the switch to the mono repo, which was a few releases back.
it's been a while, but I think somebody noticed. So hopefully now that those are fixed up, they'll have everything they'll need. Cool. All right. I guess moving on to hot issues. So anybody have anything particular that they're looking at? Sorry, go ahead, Casey.
I was just going to call out, I've seen a bunch of people hitting issues with EKS recently in various forms. I know that, well, I don't know what the root cause is. I think that there's some people who have been having trouble seeing policy be enforced. And then I know that potentially related to that, the installation instructions are tripping people up. So I actually don't know what the process is for updating those docs nowadays, but the upstream EKS docs have some confusing notices in them that sort of suggest that the instructions are not supported anymore. When actually it's saying the old instructions aren't supported anymore. So it's trying to push people to use our operator, which is the right thing. And then the instructions below the warning, use the operator. But I think a lot of users are seeing the warning and then thinking, okay, these instructions are bad, where do I go? And then they can't find the right set of docs. So I don't know what the fix there for that is, but probably updating those docs in some way, or fixing that sort of like on-ramp to that platform.
Yeah, I think we need to look into that because I think I saw a lot of things around specifically like Helm installs that are much outdated at this point. And that's why a lot of people are running into issues around that as well. So, but yeah, I think that's something that will get fixed up. A lot of people are using EKS and trying it out on EKS and having kind of mismatched instructions, whether on AWS's site and ours, and everything else not great for any amount of adoption. So we'll fix that up, I guess. Cool. Anything else anybody's been aware of, thinking about?
Actually, on that same thing, Casey, can I, or well, actually, here, yeah, can I just share real quick? Because I'm not sure that I agree that has the correct, this page sharing install.
Yep.
Yep.
So like they don't, like right now, these manifests install are pointing to the Amazon VPC.
Yes,
which
those
is not-
manifests are wrong, but the Helm tab
Oh, okay. Yeah.
is
Okay.
correct because that
Okay.
uses the,
Sorry, is that what you were saying?
yeah.
Okay.
And I think that if you go to that page by default, it shows up in Helm, but maybe that's just me.
Let's say it might just be. Let's see.
So like
Just keep whatever you had last.
the,
See, there it went.
oh yeah, I guess it does keep whatever you had last.
You could send it in the chat and I'll try it. I haven't visited, I don't think, in a while.
You can see in that warning above that it says manifests or charts used in the following procedures are not supported. The recommended way is to use the Calico operator instead of these charts or manifests.
Yeah.
But the chart does install the Calico operator. And if you click on that Calico operator link, it brings you to the GitHub repo. It doesn't have instructions on how to install it on EKS.
Yeah.
So I think users are clicking on that and just getting lost.
Like, is this where we want? Because like I remember trying to find like in the Calico docs. Oh, well, that doesn't even go to the Calico docs. I thought there was a link on here that actually went to the. I guess not. But I tried to find like, do we want to have in the Calico docs EKS installation instructions, or do we want to be pointing here?
I think right now we point here.
Yeah.
We probably want to add instructions and maybe have this point to them instead.
Okay.
And perhaps as a step to that, like we just get rid of this manifests tab here. Submit a PR to get rid of that because it's not supported anymore. Or at least update the links to be more useful, like bring people to the operator instructions instead of the operator code.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I would say that manifest is still supported, right? Because these manifests were installing operator.
And
I don't think
yeah, it does seem that way, but they are.
they've been updated in a long time, though, right?
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm not saying that that these directions are right, but installing operator by manifest is still a supported install method. Is all I was
Yes.
Yes,
trying to say.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's very true. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
Yeah. I clicked on that link too, and it does. Mine at least goes to Helm. So I don't know if that was the
Oh, it
last
does?
time I looked at it, or if that's the default or not. But yeah. So
That's good.
I mean, okay, yeah, but we need to fix up how that works, because I'm pretty sure most users will get to that landing page first, and then they can go any number of those different ways until they get to somewhere that they have problems. So we should make
Yeah.
that a lot more clear.
Yeah, that blurb at the top, you almost, well, I thought there was actually a link to the Calico docs, so I thought I ended up in like a circular, like I went to the Calico docs, which told me to go here, which then told me to go to the Calico docs, and I was like, okay, well, I don't know where to go now.
Yeah, that'll be something else we'll deal with when I finally get all that fixed up.
Yeah.
Cool. I guess, yeah, if there's no more other issues that people are tracking, I guess we're going to move on to Calico Heroes. So I think I noticed there was a nice fix that came in from, and I like this username, Muffin Man, but with a 1 instead of an I. It's great. But he had noticed that there were some difficulties with using kind of like our IPv4, IPv6 VXLAN stuff, and we had a singular flag for enabling it, and it essentially always enabled some, I think it was IPv4 if I remember correctly. So I think he split out that flag and enablement settings so that you could basically do one versus the other for IPv4, IPv6 on VXLAN. So that's much appreciated, because I think we were kind of, I think prior to that, I think a lot of that was kind of mushed together. So it's the nice little fixes that really help us there. So we really appreciate that.
I wanted to give a shout out to Sean, who, I mean, obviously is always doing great stuff, but he's been throwing through a bunch of sort of optimization and performance fixes over the last couple of weeks that I've seen coming through. A lot of just nitty gritty stuff. He's like optimizing some of our key calculation stuff is one I saw this morning, replacing our JSON library to get a bunch of wins there, a whole bunch of stuff in Typha as well, all of which are going to have, I think, pretty noticeable performance impacts for those components. It's always fun seeing Sean go on a little spree. He puts his head down and great things happen.
Yeah, he's definitely on a performance crusade at the moment.
I've seen a lot of that, so yeah, hopefully that'll speed everything up. We'll get all that time back in our tests and stuff. That's cool. Sweet. Anybody else? Anybody wanted to give a shout out to? All right, cool. I guess now we are ready for demos. So I guess kind of leading off from last month, yeah, there was one of the 324 features that we can do a quick demo of was splitting IP pools. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory from the name, but the feature is essentially to take existing IP pools you have, and instead of having to create something that's outside of the CIDR address and not being able to work with anything if you created something too large, you're now able to kind of split those IP pools up into smaller IP pools and deal with them separately. So it's kind of the nice part there. So let me share my screen. So yeah, so I think probably is just look at what IP pools we got. I only have the default IP pool. I know something that's also come up is like whether or not you can split the default IP pool and everything will be okay. So we'll just do the demo off of that one. We have our name and the CIDR for that IP pool. And when we split any IP pool, we can split it by either name or CIDR. So depends on how you are referencing your IP pools. If you know all of the resource names, you can do it by those names. If you're just kind of like, I know that there's a pod CIDR out there, but I don't really care for the name, and I'm thinking about it in terms of the pod CIDRs, you can split that as well. So it's a fairly basic command. It doesn't allow you to make uneven split pools. It basically will only split that pool and will evenly, and will only split that pool evenly for powers of 2, so that it matches with kind of like even splits you could get from the CIDRs, so the CIDR masks and everything like that. So let's see here. So I guess what probably the next thing to show here is, so I think this was the command. So let me look at that. So that's the help text. See that there's a little example there, some things, but I think the main part is you have to specify a number that you want to split by, and either the name or the CIDR, like I mentioned before. Split split the CIDR, and let's go 8.
Yeah.
Why not? So I guess it's basically to prevent you from doing anything while Calico is running and doing everything else. One of the things you have to do actually is lock the data store. That'll prevent things from being created within your IP pools while things are going, and leaves you in kind of a bad state. So before you do all of that, you have to lock the data store. So so let's do that. Cool. So we're locked now. So now it should all work. So if we go back, split it into 8 pieces, you'll see that those were split. So You'll see that it split all of them. So I guess there's been other questions about like naming, and effectively you can just see based off of kind of the old piece here, which was the default, that all it does is pretty much add this split prefix and a number suffix, and then just kind of numbers them, I guess, index 0 based index wise. Yeah, in the future we can add settings to make that a little more editable, because I could see how a lot of people may not want their split pools to be named like that. You may have had a certain process in mind for exactly why you're splitting them, and so you probably want your IP pools to match that name instead of just kind of, I split this from whatever the old one used to be. So yeah, I guess one thing to check here is whether or not this was actually split into 8. So let's see, what was it was 16 before, wasn't it? Yeah, so it's 1, 6, 8, 16. So it moved the bits over by the mask over by 3, and then I think that's an even split on 8.
Looks right to me.
Yep. So yeah. So
That's cool. So that way, like at this point now, you can go and delete some of those pools if you don't want to use them, and like, or assign certain pools to different subsections of your cluster.
I think the thing to be careful about with those, though, is you have to make sure. So you have to make sure that none of the pods in your cluster are, I guess, in any of the child pools that you're going to delete. So if you have any child pools in there, you're going to have to restart those. So
yeah, you'd want to disable the pool, restart the pods that are in that pool, and then delete it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess, when everything looks good, you just unlock the data store again. And that's pretty much it. So now Calico IPAM picks everything up. If I create new pods, they'll be assigned to the correct pools. And, yeah. So yeah, pretty short, pretty simple. Any questions about any of that? Concerns? Enhancement requests?
Nothing for me. I think it looks pretty cool. That was the first time I've seen it. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who will find this useful.
Yeah,
we've already had a user in Calico users who found a use for this. So they assigned a very large IP pool and then discovered that some portion of that was being used by something else in their corporate network. So they needed to split the pool up and then disable the chunk that was duplicating the external network.
Nice. Glad to see that it's worked out. I figure with something like that too, that then someone eventually asked for the ability to merge them back together. But
that's the obvious next step. Yes.
Yeah. We'll get there. Cool. Yeah, that's, I guess, everything I think I had on the agenda or knew about. I guess, yeah, unless there's anything else anybody has in mind, that's probably it.
Only thing I've got on my mind now is breakfast.
All right. Well, cool. Thanks for coming, everybody. It's been a great community meeting, and we'll see you guys all next month.
See you guys.
Later.
Thanks, you guys.